Give me 1 second, guys. All right. Let's see what we got here. Give me 1 second, y'all. Okay. So I got a time of 8:33. All right, time for my checks. Let me get an audio check. Let me get a video check. How's the video feed? How's the quality, resolution? We good? How's the connectivity? Somebody give me some feedback on audio. Am I coming in clear? All right, so when you guys see me looking down, I'm just looking at my secondary device. That's where I'm accessing the chat. So you'll see me going back and forth. All right, so let's see who we got. We have 7 people in the chat. We have Arcelia, good to have you. We got Dark Vader, what's up, my friend? Oh, and Arcelia, hello to you. Tito, what's up, buddy? King Carlos, the water is delicious. Thank you. King Carlos is reporting good sound. We got good video feed. Everybody else, we good to go? All right, so we'll go ahead and wait for the room to fill up, see who else is going to be joining us. In the meantime, so today is I don't know, it's probably been about 7 or 8 of these live streams now. I'm losing count. So progressing nicely. Today marks the first day on the live stream where I actually have a schedule change. So previously we were doing the live stream every Friday between 2 and 4 o'clock. That's not going to be possible anymore because I had to return to work. So during the school year, the live stream could still be on Friday, but it's going to have to be around this time later in the evening. So we'll try to get the live stream in between like 8 and 10 o'clock, or like 8:30 to 10:30 on Fridays from this point moving forward until further notice. So that's how it's going to have to be during the school year. Let me catch up. Let's see who else is up in here. We got Justin Lane. Sound is good. Thank you for stopping by. Let's see here. Gary, good to have you. Glad you could make it tonight. First win. Que pasa? Magic Tech Review. All smiles, all sunglasses. Cool beans. Tito. All right, we're good. Mark reports good sound. We got good video feed. Berkey, welcome. Hello. Good to see you. And Gary says, go Browns. Of course, go Browns. Browns are the best. All right, fantastic. All right, we're ready to go. So today is August 17th, 2018. We'll go ahead and get started with the live stream. Of course, you guys are more than welcome to ask any questions as it pertains to anything relevant to the channel. And of course, you know, any random questions or comments or statements or ideas or topics you want to discuss are fair game. Anything from the tech world, anything from mobile, anything from the networks, anything from the week. I do have some things I wanted to talk about in terms of T-Mobile and the Un-carrier announcement. We'll get to that for sure. Also wanted to talk a little bit about Sprint, so we'll get that in there, and a little bit from Verizon as well. So those are kind of my goals of the things I want to get to tonight. There's also some hardware news, a little bit of Note 9 stuff, some OnePlus news, some Google Pixel news. So if any of those things pique your interest, you know, bring them up. I'm sure I'll get to them at some point. But Let's go ahead and see what's going on in the chat. All right, David Brown wants to talk about Ting. Well, Dave, you're the man when it comes to Ting. I'm gonna have to count on you for the expertise. But Team Ting, I guess, man. All right, today we are being sponsored by water. Stay thirsty, my friends. All right, so let's open up with T-Mobile first, and you guys can, of course, give me your feedback, give me your ideas. I do want to start with this. So, with T-Mobile this week, they had the Un-carrier announcement on Wednesday. I actually did a random live stream for it, just to kind of react to it. So I kind of have mixed feelings about the their live stream that they did, the T-Mobile live stream for the Un-carrier announcement. Obviously, we're expecting big things from T-Mobile. We were expecting an announcement from Layer 3 TV, which actually did not come directly, but I think it's kind of the precursor to the Layer 3 TV announcement, but this is kind of stage one. So I'll talk about kind of that a little bit more in an up-and-coming video. I think I'm going to do that tomorrow. I do have a script ready to go, so I'll be making that video. You guys will be looking forward for that. So it was actually, when thinking about Layer 3 TV and our expectation, I think some people were disappointed. I think they were expecting that big announcement from, the cable TV thing. It didn't come, so some disappointment there. And actually, when the announcement came and they were talking about customer care, I think it caught people off guard, and some people were actually disappointed because it was not something tangible. It's not like a deal, right? You're not getting a phone. You're not getting a discounted plan, a discounted rate. You're not getting, some unlimited hotspot data or anything like that. And some people were pretty bummed out, I think. But I have my own take on it. I actually think that the, customer care, this team of experts thing that they're doing, I actually think it's a huge deal. I'm going to talk more about that in my video tomorrow on T-Mobile's Un-carrier announcement. I'll kind of unpack it and go through all the details. But I think it's actually better in the long term, and, in terms of the consumer, I think it's a bigger deal than, say, an increase of hotspot LTE data from 20 to 30 gigs. Or I think it's better than, $5 off the T-Mobile One plan. I think it's more valuable than that, and I'll justify my reasons for that. So look forward to seeing that tomorrow. I think I'll have it ready for you guys some point in the evening. If not, I'll have it ready for you guys on Sunday. But yeah, I actually think the T-Mobile Un-carrier announcement was a huge deal. I just think some people, because it's not something you could touch, it's not something you could grab, it's not something that's going to show up on your bill, I think a lot of people were disappointed with it. So, that's kind of my take on it. I think it's a bigger deal than people made it out to be. It just wasn't a product per se. It's a service, and sometimes services are more important than products when it comes to carriers and network providers. So that's kind of my little spiel on it, but I'll go ahead and I'm going to get into the live chat and see what your guys take on it. And I'll kind of give you my response and some of my insight. All right, so catching up in the chat. Gary's saying T-Mobile is merging with Verizon. That's kind of random. On what grounds do you think that's going to happen? All right, Dave's got a test tomorrow. So Dave, I'm guessing you're a master's student, or maybe you're doing your undergrad, or some kind of like a skill training test that you have to do. No, just kidding. All right, Gary, you got me on that one. Yeah, T-Mobile's not merging with Verizon, or whatever, Verizon merging with T-Mobile. Not happening. Yeah, Dave, I'm pretty thirsty, man. I don't know, today was kind of hot and humid. At least in my side of the town it was. Ooh, ham radio license test? What does that entail? That's interesting. All right, King Carlos chimed in. Will AT&T gain ground? I'm guessing as it pertains to wireless. Um, I mean, I don't know. What type of ground do you think they need to make up as it pertains to Verizon and subscriber count? As it pertains to total growth? As it pertains to coverage? Um, I don't know. What do you mean by that? Or it could be financially, or maybe you're referring to TV subscriptions. You know what, Gary? Gary asked if I like Pandora or Spotify. I actually like both. I use them for different purposes. I like Pandora because it was the first radio app that I used, like when I first started using smartphones. So, like, my BlackBerry had Pandora. All my initial Androids had Pandora. I've always used Pandora. I've gotten used to the interface. I know what to expect from it. I know how to skip the commercials, changing the stations and stuff like that. I know all the little tricks. And I've been using it a long time, so like it knows what I want to hear and it knows what I like. So I've been using it a while. The Spotify I do like. I feel like it's a little bit more customizable. The offline availability is nice. They have a good platform for that. So my primary is Pandora and Spotify is my secondary. Now that I've qualified, I guess, for the Apple Music through Verizon for the unlimited plan, I'll be trying that out. I mean, I've used it before. My wife has it, and I like it. More selective about the songs you can play from the artist. So let me give that a shot. I'll try the 6-month membership free trial and see if it sticks around for me. Mossad, what up? Good to see you, buddy. All right, let's see what else is going on in the chat here. All right, so King Carlos was talking about AT&T, and he was speaking wireless, network quality, first responders. So it looks like the first responders is progressing really nicely. The network it's pretty much ready to go. I mean, there's parts in the country where it is up and running. It's functional. From what I understand, it's gonna provide a lot of capacity and coverage in a lot of parts that maybe previously didn't have it. There's also some redundancy there. So areas where AT&T did have coverage, so it's definitely going to help with capacity, I think. When it's fully rolled out within the next year and a half, I think it'll be a much more noticeable thing for consumers that travel. And actually, I don't expect it to happen, but I'm kind of anticipating at some point a glitch in the network. I don't know if it's going to be in some type of a transitioning phase, but it's probably not going to be a perfect and seamless transition, but I'll be looking for that. I just want to see if AT&T did kind of perfect it or if there's going to be some issues moving forward. But it seems like they're off to a good start. I haven't heard anything bad about it yet. Let's see here. Arcelia says, who owns Simple Mobile? I'm not really sure, Simple Mobile. I know that's an MVNO that's pretty popular. Let's take a look. I'll do a simple Google search. Simple Mobile MVNO. Simple Mobile is on the T-Mobile network. So, looks like they were founded in 2009. Oh, so it gives you a little history on it. Companies like Simple Mobile can often get a really, really good deal, a good rate plan with them. Now, you're not going to get all the extras. You're not going to get, crazy fast speeds. You're not going to get all those, extra features that the postpaid providers offer. But I'm sure you'll get good coverage. It's T-Mobile, so it's probably going to be pretty good. Now, if T-Mobile's good in your area, then Simple probably works. But if T-Mobile's not great in your area, I would probably recommend to go with a different provider. All right, let's catch up in the chat here. Who else do we got here? King Carlos says, how can I do the Verizon thing, the Apple Music? So go to the My Verizon app. If you haven't downloaded it, go ahead and do that. And you actually have to, actually I wrote it down. because I have to do it myself. So, do 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 do. First of all, King Carlos, you got to make sure you have the Go or Beyond or Above Unlimited plan, so that's how you qualify. You have to use the My Verizon app. Go to your account, click on add-ons, go to entertainment, and then choose the line you want to add it to. So if you have multiple lines, you can add the free trial to all of the lines. And you'll have that for 6 months. It is a free trial, so if you like it after the 6 months, you can start paying the premium subscription fee. I don't know, it's like, they have like the family plans, like $9.99 a month or something like that. So that's how you do it. You can also do it by just logging in online to your My Verizon, like doing it through the web. That'll work too. Same kind of deal. It's a pretty good deal though. I mean, Apple Music seems to be pretty good, in my opinion. All right, let's see what else is going on here. All right, Dave Brown gives a shout out to TrackPhone. TrackPhone, that's a big time MVNO. They got tons of customers. Tito chimes in, AT&T in my area is not that good. A lot of people complain about it, and the service needs to improve everywhere. There are some places where AT&T is really, really good and very dependable. Their coverage is actually usually pretty good. I'm sure they have some bad spots. I think all networks do. The issue I've had with AT&T is in some places they're just not that fast. So, you know, in areas that are susceptible to capacity issues with congestion, I've seen AT&T's network get bogged down. So they should probably give some attention to that. Mark Garcia says, been with Pandora from the beginning, also fully invested. Yeah, I've always liked Pandora. It's an app that I've come to know over time, and I think, you know, it just kind of plays things the way I want them to. So, you know, the thumbs up system works for me, and, you know, all the channels and stuff like that. Mo says T-Mobile's data services dies completely every week or two. So are you saying that you just lose connectivity, no LTE? Gary's asking about Yasmin. She's good. She just went to sleep. Long day for her. She went down real easy. Mo chimes in on T-Mobile saying that they may be a little bit overhyped and a gimmick network. Not necessarily. I think some people are super happy with T-Mobile. Now obviously they're still trying to fill in some gaps with the network. In some places they have capacity issues, in some places they have coverage issues, but I still think they're a relatively young company and they do deserve a little bit of patience. And with the pricing being more attractive than say Verizon or AT&T, you know, it does offer a decent third option, plus all the extras, things like Netflix on Us and you know, more of the perks with, you know, extra tethering data and stuff like that. They make it worth it for you to consider, at least that much. So yeah, I mean, and plus all the Un-carrier movements, all those bonuses and extras, people really enjoy that stuff. And a lot of people say they're very happy with T-Mobile's customer service. So it's not always just the network. I mean, it's primarily the network performance, but it's other things too. I'm just trying to catch up here in the chat. Dave Brown is big time hyping up Ting tonight. Man, I'll tell you what, I think Dave's gonna get like 30 switchers to Ting tonight by himself. Everybody get a sim from Ting. I think Dave's on a commission tonight. He's trying to get like 30 switchers. You're welcome, Arcelia, anytime. Steve, what's up, buddy? Good to see you. Glad you could make it. Soul J, what's up, my friend? Got you on perfect timing. About to get off work. Boom. Just got off of work myself a few hours ago, man. Well, I've been out for a while, but it's just long day. So for those of you that weren't here at the very beginning of the live stream is going to have to change in terms of timing. I did mention this previously in my last live stream, my last video. During the school year, which now we're back to school, the live stream can't be in the afternoon between 2 and 4. It's going to move a little bit later. It's probably going to move closer to like this time, between like 8 and 9 o'clock for a start time. So we'll try to go, for a couple hours. If we start at 8, we'll go to 10. If we start at 8:30, we'll go to 10:30, and 9's probably the latest I'll start, because then it'll go through 11, and I got work in the morning. So that's the best I could do for now, until further notice. I'll let you guys know, but for now it's going to be Friday in the evenings. Hopefully it doesn't inconvenience any of you, and you could still chime in and watch. And of course you can watch the live stream later. You just can't get involved in the live chat, which kind of sucks. I need a bigger glass. That's decent. It's not too bad. Dave's passing out SIM cards from Ting tonight. If anybody needs a SIM card from Ting, let Dave know. He's got it for cheap, bruh. Alright, so we have a request from Nathan. Can you do a video on T-Mobile's prepaid plans and how each plan is different? And bring my own devices and SIM card costs and any activation costs. Yeah, I could do something on that. So what I'll do is I'll just kind of approach it from like maybe the different features they offer, what the plan features are. I'll cover the costs and the offerings they have, and kind of the process. So yeah, I could do that for you guys, definitely. Soul J says, haha, big gulp so the streams will last longer. Big gulps, huh? Well, see you later. Oh, thanks, Mark. I appreciate it, man. You know what? This is my. And let me count my years here. How long I've been teaching. So my first job, I was at that school for 2 years. My second job, I was at that school for 1 year, and so that's 3. And I've been at my current job for 4, so that's 7. So this is year number 8 for me. So now I guess that officially makes me like, I guess, a veteran. I've been doing this for 8 years now. It's pretty awesome. Never really thought back to reflect on it, but yeah, I've been teaching, and actually, I still count like my student teaching as when I taught. So that would make it like 9 or 10 years, considering field experiences and student teaching. I still taught all my classes even when I student taught. Let's see here. Yeah, Soul J, thanks, man. I don't know if it's like a congratulations. I think once I get to 10, that's like a milestone. I thought 5 was a milestone. I guess 10 would be one, maybe 20, 25. Hopefully, as soon as I get to like 30 years teaching, and I can start to kind of see the finish line for retirement, I might have to go about 33 to 35 years, depending. We'll see if I can make it through all those years, if these kids don't kill me first. Celia's got a good question. She says, Metro PCS, T-Mobile, what's going to happen with these carriers with the merger? So, Arcelia, we don't know for sure, but currently it's part of the whole regulatory process, part of the DOJ's job, part of the subcommittee's approval of the merger is going to have to be to consider those prepaid carriers, because this implicates Metro PCS, it implicates Boost, and they have tons of customers between the two of them. Plus also throw in T-Mobile's proper prepaid and Sprint's proper prepaid, and all the MVNOs become affected. So it's going to complicate things. I think we'll know more in the next couple of months. I'm hopefully expecting to hear something at least in September about prepaid. What are they going to do with the companies? What are they going to do with the carriers? What is it going to do for the consumer market in terms of competition and prices? It's going to implicate tens of millions of people. So, and the people that are on prepaid carriers are usually on fixed incomes, or they can't really afford postpaid service, or they choose not to want to spend on postpaid. They don't need all the extra features. They don't need all the services. More of a basic service is all they require. So it's definitely important. I'll keep you guys posted as soon as something becomes available. I have my own preconceived notions of what I think is going to happen, which I think they're going to have to branch off some of the prepaid carriers. They're going to have to continue to support the MVNOs, which I think is important. And then I think, like with Metro and Boost, I think they may lose one. So I don't know if it's going to be Metro. I'm guessing it's probably going to be Boost. I think Boost customers will get to remain Boost separate from them. So they'll be like a real completely separate MVNO of Sprint or of T-Mobile Sprint. That's just kind of a guess. I don't really know for sure. That's just my feeling. And I could be wrong for sure. Dave, is that the Ting deal? 45 unlimited, no deprioritization, full speed hotspot, and no throttle? Oh, until December. Okay, so it's a limited time promo. Definitely take advantage of that. That sounds like a great deal. Lots of features there. Soul J asks, do you think Cricket will get better? Or do you think it's at its peak already? Once the networks start to get a little bit faster and 5G becomes more mainstream, I think Cricket's going to loosen up the reins a little bit. I think you'll see that the speeds will improve. I think they might boost the video resolution maybe down the line within a couple of years. I think they'll boost speeds a little bit. So like the unlimited restriction, I think is 3 megabits per second. I think that gets boosted maybe to 5 or something like that, or something along those lines. I think it'll just be a little bit better performing for people that use Cricket. The pricing will probably stay the same though. I don't think people understand, like, pricing's going nowhere. Pricing's pretty steady right now. It's the pricing in terms of plans, the market has stabilized. We're not going to see, many changes in terms of increases with LTE, and we're not going to see much for decreasing either. Promos are pretty much, they're more standardized now. We're not going to see anything crazy there, which is why I kind of told people, like I predicted it. I didn't think it was going to be data plan oriented when T-Mobile did the Un-carrier announcement. Tito is asking, what's the next step for Verizon and their, I'm guessing, prepaid plans? Well, Verizon is trying to improve its prepaid stance. It's the prepaid side for Verizon has never been a focal point for them. They've never paid much attention to it. They've never pushed it. They've never done great promos. Up until recently, they just haven't cared. They care more, a little bit more now. This year's better. They had the double data offering recently. They're trying to get people to use the service. They don't want to lose people on postpaid to other companies, so they're trying to retain those people on the prepaid side because it's a little bit cheaper. But they have their own restrictions, and it's not the greatest bargain. But the service is good, the coverage is good. They do have some restrictions with the phones, as all prepaid carriers do. They just don't seem to pay too much attention to the prepaid side. If I was going to do a Verizon prepaid carrier, I would look to an MVNO for them. Then there's several of them where you could save some money, like $45 for a prepaid unlimited line through an MVNO. Get the coverage, you get the speeds. It's just not all the extras. Now Verizon, what they're doing for the future, Verizon's going heavy with 5G residential. That's their big thing. They're looking to get into TV, which I have a video up and coming. I've got the T-Mobile video coming and then the Verizon video coming, so stay tuned for that. The Verizon thing right now is 5G residential. They want people to ditch their cable internet service providers and TV providers, and they want to get them. And I've got my own thoughts and opinions on it, but if they're going to get those people switching for home services, their pricing's going to have to be better, or they're going to have to bundle some kind of a TV service with it, with their 5G. They're going to have to figure something out. Maybe they'll bundle a wireless deal with it. I don't know, but and people actually do hate their home internet service providers. That's something that John was talking about in the Un-carrier announcement. That's definitely 100% true. So I don't know. We'll have to see what Verizon does, but that's their focus right now is 5G residential. We'll have to see what they do. We'll have to see if their deals are attractive. We'll have to see if the performance is there, if the offerings are going to expand, because right now they only have 4 cities. We got a new city for Verizon's 5G. They just named Indianapolis, Indiana. So if you're in Sacramento or Indianapolis or Houston, what's the other market? There's 4 markets. It's Indianapolis, Houston, Sacramento, and LA. If you're in those areas, you'll have first dibs on it. They're going to offer Apple TV with it. They're going to offer YouTube TV with it. So maybe that's enough to get people to consider it. But that's kind of what they're facing in terms of the marketplace. You know what, Arcelia? If you're looking to save some money, Simple Mobile will give you a good deal. Uh, I'm not sure what their unlimited promo is right now, but you definitely could save some money. All right, so Steve's got some news for us. He says Verizon is going to open stores for prepaid only, and they may start to push for prepaid. I don't know if they really need dedicated stores for prepaid. I think they need dedicated sections in their store for prepaid, like a dedicated salesman who knows everything about the prepaid side, like a true selection of devices for prepaid that highlights phones that actually have features. Like, just because you don't want to pay a lot for service doesn't mean you don't want a three, four, $500 phone. Yeah, you want to offer budget devices like a $50, $100 phone, but I mean, what, somebody wouldn't want to buy an iPhone 8 for prepaid? Why not? So, maybe putting a couple of, true displays of devices that people can see and see, prepaid branding, get the network. If, you want to bargain, we still offer this deal. I just think they don't promote it, like you were saying. They need to get it out there and, give people a better value, something to consider if they don't want postpaid. They don't want to lose people to the other carriers. People leave Verizon postpaid. They go to T-Mobile. They go to Sprint. They go to AT&T. But mostly they go to an MVNO. They go to, and they'd rather retain them on their network than lose them to a Sprint MVNO or a T-Mobile MVNO. So they got to keep those customers, keep the churn down. Soul J chimes in. Verizon's prepaid price is better than postpaid on any carrier. He used to pay $265 a month for 3 lines, compared to any. Yeah, that's actually a pretty good price. Um, yeah, so you're going to save money with prepaid. You're going to save money with MVNOs. The only issue is when people do switch to prepaid or MVNOs, there's loss of features and sometimes there's loss of customer support. They just don't have the presence that the postpaid does. If you walk into a T-Mobile store, if you walk into an AT&T store, doesn't matter if it's postpaid, you're going to get more specialized attention. The same attention's not there on the prepaid side. But if you know what you want and you know what you're looking for and you know how to handle your business and what you conduct on the cellular network side, you don't need much attention. You need a SIM card, and that's pretty much it. And you could program your own phone, you could do your own APN settings, you could save a lot of money that way. Postpaid, you have to pay for everything. It's a premium experience. So yeah. So Arcelia asks, what would 5G home look like? So here's what it's going to be like. Basically, what Verizon is going to do is take those 4 cities where they're going to have 5G residential first. In 2018, they're going to have Sacramento, California, LA, California, they're going to have Houston, Texas, and now Indianapolis, Indiana. In those cities where it's available, they're going to have, they're going to basically have stations that are, they're going to have the hardware installed very close to the residences that are going to utilize the service. So they're going to have, the wiring configured already. All the hardware is going to be installed, and basically they're going to traject a wireless signal to a box in your house to receive the signal to offer you the service. So it's basically wireless home internet, but it's done so utilizing 5G technology. So, it's going to be fast. It's going to be, and hopefully it's not too far away where it's going to affect your service. 5G should be gigabit speed. So we're hoping to see, 1,000 megs per second on the download, and, hopefully maybe like 100, to 200 megabits per second on the upload. So, hopefully it should be really, really fast. Now, the hardware that they're going to use, I don't know anything about it. I don't know what type of boxes they're going to use. I don't know what it's going to cost you for the modem or the box, the receiver, whatever they're going to call it. I'm going to wait to see what that looks like. I don't know what they're going to charge. I'm guessing they're going to charge similar prices to what home internet service providers charge, because it's their direct competitor. They're probably going to charge a similar price. But yeah, that's kind of what it's going to be. It's going to be wireless home internet, which is transmitting a signal from a box somewhere, I don't know, within a several hundred feet. They've got to make sure that there's a decent line of sight because with 5G spectrum, any obstruction can really slow down the speeds. So it's very, very touchy. They say they figured it out. They're ready to deploy it. We'll see what it's like when people start to get the service. Soul J asks, have you heard anything on the new iPad coming out? Supposedly getting an X-like makeover. I hear that the display is going to be like one of those almost bezel-less displays. So they're going to get rid of all those black bars on the outside, make it look more like an iPhone X. I don't know if it's going to require a notch necessarily. I, for one, hate the notch, but whatever. It's iPhone's thing if they're going to put a notch. Hopefully it's got some new functionality. Hopefully it's more high performance. Maybe some added storage, maybe double the storage. I don't know. We'll have to see. I know the pen or the Apple Pencil's a new feature that they want to add. I don't know if all the iPads are going to have it. Maybe it's just designated for the Pro. But pricing is going to be a big deal. If they're going to make it more affordable, or if they're going to make it more premium and charge more. So I think it's going to be more about price point versus the features they offer for that. Yeah, I'm hearing, yeah, just like you said, Soul J, smaller chin, smaller bezels, and possibly the notch. I don't know if they're going to do the facial recognition. I mean, if they're going to do a notch, that's what I'm assuming. It'll be that, face unlock feature that they have, that cool feature. But, I mean, if they don't do a notch, then they don't need that stuff. Maybe they'll just do another fingerprint scanner. I don't know. A lot of people like the hardware capacitive fingerprint scanner anyway. Maybe they'll give both. Who knows? Mark Garcia says people are already complaining about the 5G small cell towers mounted on poles. Yeah, there are some cities across America that are fighting small cells like there's no tomorrow. They don't want to see them on the infrastructure around their neighborhoods. They don't want to see them on light poles. They don't want to see them on signage. They don't want to see them on buildings. Some people don't want them, and this is the political side. These people don't want it in their neighborhoods, and they're going to fight to keep them out. Unfortunately, ISPs and network providers are very powerful, and money talks. And in order to make their network outperform other networks and keep up to pace with the other networks, it may mean implementing, small cell introductions to neighborhoods. So I feel bad for those people because, I mean, they have legitimate concerns. They don't want them. They're eyesores or they're concerned about their health. It's definitely a political piece there. Arcelia says, not all the entire city would have Verizon. Yeah, but it would be offered like places like apartment buildings where there's sets of townhomes and condominiums. They're going to put it where there's neighborhoods. So say there's a neighborhood of 50 homes, or there's a neighborhood with, 100 homes. They'll try to center the hardware so that the signal can traject to everybody's house. And they'll probably use some signal boosters too. So if there's a house that's out of sight a little bit, or there's some obstruction, they'll figure a way to get a decent signal to that house. So and it's going to be a work in progress, right? All right, so I caught up in the chat. I think we're good. We're about 40 minutes in. So far, we've talked about a little bit about Verizon and T-Mobile for those of you just chiming in, visiting. Sorry for the late start to the live stream. This is kind of how it's going to be in the foreseeable future while the school year is going on. So until further notice, we're going to be doing the live stream Friday evenings around 8:30, no later than that. We'll run for a couple hours as usual, but just a later start now. All right, so some things that I'll be covering in the next couple of videos from T-Mobile. I will be talking about, obviously, the Un-carrier announcement, which happened on Wednesday, August 15th. So focus being on customer care and I guess their team of experts for customer care. So you'll be getting my thoughts and opinions after I unpack it. I'll also kind of explain how they're going to approach the customer care efforts, what it kind of means for customers. They also actually they're offering some new products. T-Mobile's throwing in some deals through Live Nation, so that's going to be like for seats and reserve seats at events, shows, concerts, stuff like that. They're also offering a new uh, offer with Pandora Plus. So if you like Pandora and you want like more like unlimited skips and more tailored advertising, removal of ads, stuff like that, that's going to be included there too. I'll kind of be talking about the phases of the end carrier announcement. So it is kind of two parts. It does implicate Layer 3 TV, which is up and coming pretty soon, I'm sure. So I'll kind of cover those topics. And actually, for those of you that haven't heard, T-Mobile's giving free network trials to people in certain cities. So there are 3 cities in the U.S. If you live in those 3 cities and you want to try T-Mobile, you can go to the website or call up customer service, and they're actually willing to send you a device. It's more like a mobile hotspot than anything. So there's a T-Mobile SIM inside the mobile hotspot. They send it to you. It takes like 2 days to ship to you, and basically they're going to let you test T-Mobile in the area. It's only 3 cities though that qualify, and they're at, I don't know, some arbitrary cities. I'll talk more about it in the video. So you'll get 30 days to test it, or 30 gigabytes of LTE data to test. So whichever one comes first, then it's done. Then you could take the device and ship it or drop it off at a T-Mobile store, or give it to somebody and they could call and reactivate the SIM card or get their own trial with it if they don't want to do the 2-day shipping. But it's free of cost. You just sign up for it and they send it to you. But it is only available in 3 cities. So when I do the video on that this weekend, I'll mention the 3 cities. I'll talk about what they're doing and what the initiative is about. So that's pretty cool. If you're thinking about T-Mobile and you're in those 3 cities, definitely give that a look. Also, there's been some T-Mobile expansions. Obviously, they're always working on expanding the network, getting improved coverage and improved capacity. So there's a whole slew of new cities and regions that got some 600 and 700 megahertz upgrades. So that's band 71, band 66. Some of the states that I saw, there was some action for California, Georgia, New York, Pennsylvania, Tennessee, and Texas. That was for the band 71, 600 gigahertz. So that's good for coverage. I'm sure those are places that could utilize it. And there was also a huge list of cities and states for mid-band upgrades. The spectrum was PCS and AWS, which are awesome for capacity. So areas that need the speed, need to support more people. There were tons of cities in California. Iowa was the biggest addition of all. New York was mentioned, and also Texas was huge. So if you're in Texas, if you're in Iowa, California, you may be seeing some awesome upgrades for T-Mobile in terms of coverage and capacity. So if you want to see if your city made it to those upgrade lists, just go to the T-Mobile website, check it out, and see if your city's on there. I think that's it pretty much. So yeah, that's the news from T-Mobile. I'm going to catch up in the chat here. I'm a little behind. Let's see here. Mark Garcia says maybe those people should agree to stay on 3G then. So what Mark's talking about, he's talking about the people that don't want small cells installed around their neighborhoods, near their homes. You know what? I'm sure there's a lot of people that are perfectly fine with 3G, just for calling or whatever. They don't need crazy fast speeds. Devices just don't mean that much to them. But it's kind of one of those situations where the needs of the many outweighs the needs of the few. So if it's just a handful of people that are like naysayers, or if it's a handful of people that oppose the small cells, the city's probably going to get its way, or the cell provider is going to get its way, and those things are going to be installed eventually anyways. So. Oscar Frederico Jr. What's up, buddy? Glad you could make it. Thank you for stopping by. Arcelia, I'm not sure if I understand your statement or comment. How do I get we're racing to my side of town? What do you, like Verizon service, the 5G service? You got to be in one of those 4 markets. 2018 is only going to have 4 markets with residential 5G for Verizon. Oscar, I'm doing well, my friend. How are you? All right, so I covered some of the T-Mobile stuff. Um, I have mentioned a little bit about Verizon. So we've got the fourth city that's been named, Indianapolis. So we've got Houston, LA, Sacramento, and Indianapolis, Indiana. Those are going to be the first residential 5G cities for Verizon in 2018. So we've got that. The next thing that's been happening with Verizon is I want to say it was probably about 3 or 4 weeks ago. Verizon basically killed off Go90. It was a failed project. The TV offerings that they had just weren't resonating with people. People didn't like the service. They weren't watching it. I don't know if it was the production. I don't know if it was the channel list. I don't know if it was the shows or the movies. But it just never took off. I used to watch Go90 just for the soccer matches. I couldn't find the soccer matches anywhere else. So I liked it for that. But I guess it didn't have much of a following in it. Ultimately failed, and they ended Go90 as of July 31st. So Verizon has to kind of realign its TV media approach. And essentially what they're going to do is they're going to have partnerships to really drive home this media thing. So the 5G residential services that they're going to have in those four cities in 2018 are going to come as a bundle with either YouTube TV, which for you guys that don't know about YouTube TV, it's a pretty cool service. It's valued at about $40 a month. It's got a pretty decent channel list. It's very dependable. It's easy to cast it. It's got DVR capabilities. It's got an extensive channel list. They do have local channels. They have cable channels. It's pretty good. So you would get that with the 5G services if it's in your area in those four cities. And the other thing is if you don't want the YouTube TV services, you can actually get Apple TV, which Apple TV 4K would be available to you, and it would be included at no cost. So you can't get both Apple TV and YouTube TV. You would have to just pick one, and Verizon's just throwing it in there with whatever they're going to charge for the 5G residential. So that's kind of good news. I'll talk more about that in the video, and I'll kind of do an in-depth analysis on it, and then I'll kind of get into what type of an uphill battle Verizon's going to be facing in the TV space and what they can kind of do. So that's going on with Verizon, and that's up and coming. And for those of you that weren't here earlier, somebody had asked me, I think it was King Carlos maybe, how do you get the Apple Music subscription if you have a Verizon Unlimited postpaid plan? You get it actually, so you qualify as long as you have a postpaid unlimited plan with Verizon. That would be Go, Above, or Beyond. All those qualify. You just go to your My Verizon app and you activate it on your line. It's as simple as that, and it gives you a 6-month trial for free. No charge. So, I think Apple Music's like $10 a month, so that's not a bad value. It just sucks that after 6 months you have to start paying for it or you have to cancel it. All right, so that's going on there. And the last thing from Verizon, actually, Verizon is expanding its 55 plus plan offering, so it's not just restricted to Florida anymore. They're going to be offering it in a couple of other states. I just don't understand what Verizon's doing with that. T-Mobile offers the 55 plus plan to anybody anywhere as long as they meet the age requirement. For whatever reason, Verizon has only been offering it to Florida residents, and now they're going to be offering it to, I think, like 2 or 3 more states. So it's nice that T-Mobile's offering, fully to the entire U.S. I mean, it's okay, I guess, that Verizon offers it to a few states, but why don't they give it to every state? Why is it a regional thing? I have no idea. That's kind of frustrating, and it's kind of indirectly discriminatory. Like, what's so great about Florida that they deserve the plan that no other states deserve it? I don't know. So that's been going on with Verizon, and you guys, of course, thoughts and opinions. You guys can tell me what you think of those things. All right, Scott, it's glad to see you're doing well, my friend. Gary, welcome back. Where'd you go, man? So Arcelia asks, how do I get Verizon's home internet, non-5G to my area? The only other service that Verizon offers is it Fios that they offer, and it's regional. It just depends. I know they offer it in Pittsburgh. I know they offer it in, I think, Columbus, some other cities, but it's very regionally based. They're not nationwide. So just like how their 5G residential is going to be city to city, so is their Fios service. So What you could do is go to Verizon Fios Google search and see, put in your zip code and see if it's offered there. Yeah, Gary says Verizon sucks. Mark says if you have Sling, uh, they have tons of soccer on there. You know what, Mark? Yeah, Sling does a pretty good job with soccer. So does the DirecTV Now. Like I watched all my FIFA World Cup stuff. I catch a lot of matches on the Fox Sports networks and stuff like that. So they have a lot of stuff on there. You know what, Gary? You're not the only one. A lot of people hate Big Red, man. They hate Verizon. But there's a lot of people that like Verizon. They know what they're getting into with Verizon. They don't expect anything for free. They don't want to be best friends with Verizon. They just want good, dependable, top-notch service and coverage, and they pay a premium for it. It's a little bit more expensive, but they're happy with what they get. They're satisfied. Maybe not pricing, maybe not customer care necessarily, but there are some people that are very happy with Verizon. Yeah, see, a lot of people have really slow internet, even cable. There are cable companies that, unless you're paying $80 or $90 a month for internet, they're not giving you anything better than like 30 megs per second. Which 30 megs per second isn't bad, but it's not great. Like 30 megs per second, you could support TV streaming, probably a couple of smartphones, maybe a tablet or two, and then like a laptop or a desktop or something. Like you can connect all those things, no problem. But the problem is like for like high bandwidth demands, like if you're gonna watch 4K TV, like high resolution streaming, like 30 megabits per second is like a bare minimum to watch something like 4K. Like if your devices are connected and you're trying to watch 4K, it's not gonna happen. So you're gonna need more like 50 megs, 100 megs, 300 megs if you're gonna have dependable service to all your devices in your house. So yeah, internet speed's kind of a big deal. And they've been playing games forever. DSL, cable with all these different tiers. They try to squeeze as much money out of consumers as they can. Sucks. You know what, Gary? I have heard of the company Windstream. Man, probably, I don't know, man. It was about 5 or 6 months I was reading something online and I recognized that name. I don't know, maybe you can kind of, jog my memory what exactly they do and what they offer. Nathan says, is T-Mobile prepaid doing any promotions for porting your number from a carrier like AT&T that is postpaid? Probably not. They usually don't do any prepaid switching promotions. Like, come from a postpaid carrier, we'll do this and this and that. It doesn't work like that. It's usually postpaid to postpaid. So going from Verizon to T-Mobile, you'll get a promotional offer. They'll pay off your phone or something like that, and then get you into a new phone, stuff like that. They'll do that for you. But you're not going to go from postpaid to prepaid and get any type of specialty promotion. Arcelia says she has Spectrum service. I think we've actually talked about your home internet situation before. Not a very high approval rating from Spectrum. A lot of people hate Spectrum. A lot of people hate Charter. A lot of people hate Comcast. A lot of people hate Time Warner. People just in general don't like their home internet service providers. They're not happy with the equipment that they give them. They're not happy with the services. They're not happy with speeds. They're not happy with reliability or dependability. There's a lot of problems. And customer care, that's just the worst when it comes to home internet service providers. They know that they have kind of like a monopoly, and people don't have many choices, especially regionally when they get these monopolies. They corner these markets, so they just don't care. It sucks. I'm actually really looking forward to what T-Mobile does with Layer 3 TV, and I'm also intrigued by if T-Mobile is going to do something with home internet. As it pertains to the Layer 3 TV, and also, can they support actually true home broadband? I'd like to see if they can get their hands on some of that. I mean, now, especially with them talking about this team of experts in customer care, and they were highlighting pretty much like all of the home internet service providers and how bad they are. Well, if you're talking about how bad they are, you must be implying that you're going to be getting in the business. So I'm looking forward to that. Hopefully we do see something with that soon. Gary says Comcast is the number one hated company. Probably. Man, Comcast, they do shady stuff too. Like your bill will change month to month. Uh, Modems fail and flicker and turn off and on, and signal wireless router modem combos suck. Um, the pricing is atrocious. They give people data caps. You know, you only get 1,000 gigs of data. Like, it's home internet. What are you throttling for? Like, slowing people down. Oh, it's just insane. They're the worst. Mark Garcia says Cox works well for me, but people hate them. See, I have Cox too, and Cox, like, it's a mixed bag. Like, some people have good experiences with them, but like that's with anything, you know what I mean? So, uh, I don't know. I don't have good experiences with them necessarily. I mean, sometimes it's good, and sometimes it's not. So, I think consistency is an important component to customer care. Nobody likes to be surprised by bills, and nobody likes to see their service getting disrupted. And I think all those home internet service providers, they do both of those in spades. Arcelia says Comcast is greater than Sprint. Oh, equal to Sprint. Now, Arcela, I remember you told me about the issue with Sprint, and you kind of got, you know, you got a raw deal out of Sprint. Uh, yeah, I remember that. Anybody out there happy with Sprint or happy with Comcast or happy with Charter or whoever else? We're getting a lot of negativity. Hopefully, there's somebody out there with something good to say about them. All right, we're about, looks like we're 59 minutes in, so we're 1 hour into the live stream. It's been good so far. We've talked home internet, we've talked cable, we've talked TV a little bit, we've talked T-Mobile, we've talked Verizon, the expansion of 5G. Is anybody interested in any devices up and coming? Right now, if you pre-order the Samsung Galaxy Note 9 through Verizon, they're doing a buy one get one. So if you're on Big Red or you're consider switching to Verizon, they're running a good promotion if you pre-order the Samsung Galaxy Note 9. The Note 9 is a big time device. It's got a lot of cool features. It's got everything, but it is so expensive. It starts at 1,000, and if you upgrade the storage and the RAM, you can, I guess, go up to about 1,250. If you get insurance on that, consider taxes and fees. Man, you're looking at a very, very pricey device, but it's a true powerhouse. It's Samsung's true flagship. It's got that Bluetooth capable S Pen. It's got, you know, dual rear cameras. It's got tons and tons of features. So I don't know if it's worth $1,250, but it's definitely the best Android that'll be out right now. So I don't know, anybody interested in that? Arcelia is interested in the new iPad. I think a lot of people are. We're going to get new iPads. We're going to get new iPhones up and coming. We kind of know what to expect with the new iPhones. We're expecting 3 new models. One is going to be basically a replacement for the iPhone 10. So it'll look like it. It'll probably cost a little bit less. I'm hearing rumors of it costing $900. So last year's iPhone 10 is 1,000. This one's going to be $900. They're going to probably end production of the iPhone 10, so you'll have to get the upgraded version. There's also going to be a budget iPhone, which actually isn't budget at all. It's going to be probably $700, if not maybe $750. There's nothing budget about $750 or $700 for an iPhone. That's just cheaper than the iPhone 10 and the iPhone 10 Plus or 11 or whatever they're going to call it. Those are closer to $1,000 and $1,100. There's nothing cheap about $700. Don't let them fool you. You know, that payment's going to be over $30 a month. So I don't know what's cheap about that. What's budget? So that one's going to have an LCD panel display. That one's going to have some color options apparently. It's going to be a little more affordable. It's just not going to be $1,000. And then there's going to be a plus size variant, which is going to be enormous. I'm hearing like 6.5-inch display. It's going to feature the same bezel-less design with the tiny top and bottom and side bezels. They're all going to have a notch. They're all going to have that technology, the face unlock technology. So that's kind of what we're expecting from the iPhones. I don't know if anybody's interested in those iPhones, but they'll probably sell like crazy. People love those things. The only thing is, as it relates to our channel and the topics we cover, those iPhones probably aren't going to have great connectivity as it pertains to newer tech. So you're probably not going to get band 71. You're probably not going to get band 66. Maybe band 66 actually. Yeah, I don't think it'll have band 71 for T-Mobile, so that kind of sucks. Their processors are usually not the fastest, so you'll see a huge difference between, say, like any Android that runs a Snapdragon 845. They'll be a lot faster in terms of LTE than the newer iPhones. So if you don't care between Android and iPhone, like, doesn't matter to you, you just want a great phone, and you want the fastest phone possible, probably get, either like an S9, S9 Plus, or a Note 9. Anything with a Snapdragon 845. It's going to be your fastest phone. What's going on in the chat here? If I had to spend that much on a phone, Mark says he would definitely get the Note 9. Yeah, if I had 1,000 to burn, if I had 1,250 to burn, I would get the Note 9 also. No questions asked. I'd have it shipped from Samsung directly though. I can't recommend buying it from a carrier unless they give you some crazy good deal like a buy one get one free. Now it does lock you in for a couple years because they're going to give you credits over, 2-year installments or whatever. But if that's not an issue, go ahead and do that, or just sell it on Swappa, sell your old phone on eBay, get a premium for it, and then finance the new phone. Most companies, not just the carriers but even Samsung, they do free financing for 2 years, so you can just pay it over the months. Arcelia says it would be cool if the iPad could work as a phone. Well, it kind of does, as long as you have an LTE one. There are iPads that do take SIM cards, so yeah, they kind of do serve as, they could serve as phones. Well, you would just have to use a calling app. You wouldn't have, dedicated calling per se. But yeah, you can make it work. WhatsApp and stuff like that. As long as you have an internet connection, you're good. If you have LTE or Wi-Fi, you can run whatever app you want. Kind of quiet out there, guys. What are we at here? We're just over an hour into the live stream. Keep the comments coming. Keep the questions coming. Anything you guys want to talk about, anything as it pertains to prepaid, postpaid, maybe you're interested in the Pixels that are up and coming, we can kind of talk about those. It's got an interesting design. I know I'm going to be kind of bummed out about the Google Pixel 3 XL. I'm probably going to skip it this year, and I love the Google phones, but I'm probably going to skip it this year. Too ugly, notch for nothing. So I'll probably skip that. I might consider the smaller Pixel, but I've already gotten used to larger phone now, and I like the larger battery, and I like the all-day battery life, so I'm not going to be too happy with that. If I can find a good deal on a Note 9 or, an S9 Plus or something, I might consider that. I think Samsung's doing best when it comes to hardware. They make the best devices. Arcelia asks, much into video game consoles. So I only have one video game console. I don't play computer games. I only have one console. I have the Xbox, the most recent one. What is it? The Xbox One. I play it. I mostly stick to sports games. So, like, I played like the UFC games. I play FIFA. Madden when I'm at a friend's house. I'll play, 2K, stuff like that. Those are mostly what I play. I don't play Fortnite. Seems like everybody and their mother plays Fortnite except me. I don't really play Fortnite. Although my brother-in-law did download Fortnite onto my Xbox, so the game's on there, I just haven't played it. Maybe one day I'll give it a shot. Alright, so we have a new member here who's just chiming in. Hello there, Ha. Good to have you. Welcome. Thanks for stopping by. Mo says Motorola has been my brand for the last 4 years. Quality is very good. Man, Motorola makes a good device. Call quality is top notch. So as like a phone, it's actually really good. They make durable devices. They've got like shatterproof technology in their screens and their displays. They charge freaky fast with the turbocharger that comes with the box. They support Qualcomm fast charge, technologies. They're really good. The batteries are usually massive, so battery life's good. Signal's strong. I love the stock Android. It's just so buttery smooth. Software, no issues, no hiccups. I'm definitely a big fan of Motorola. I actually have one right here. This is the Moto Z2 Play. So that's my secondary advice. I love this thing. Battery life on this thing is great. And I don't even have a Moto mod. I wish I did. I would love the JBL speaker mod. That thing's sweet. I would love the 5G mod actually, which is up and coming. That's a pretty big time mod. We'll be talking about that in a video this week. So yeah, I love the Moto phones. Now I wish that Lenovo didn't buy them. I wish it was the Motorola that was owned by Google, because of software updates were super fast, and just the stock Android experience. I mean, they still have the stock Android experience, but there's just something about Google's touch when it comes to software. It's the best. Steve, I'm not really too well versed about the Apple Watch Series 4. I will say this though. There is only one wearable watch that matters in the world, and that's the Apple Watch. Like, there were so many Android Wear watches, or Google Wear, whatever they're gonna call it, and there were actually some really pretty ones, like LG Watch Urbane. The Huawei watch was really nice. Motorola 360 was a great watch. I actually own one. But at this point in the game, Apple Watch is the only one that matters. So unfortunately, Apple may not feel any pressure to innovate the watch. So who knows if we're going to see anything worth upgrading for. So if you have like an Apple Watch Series 2 or Series 3, you may not be compelled to upgrade to a Series 4. We'll have to wait and see if they actually have one released this year, and we'll see what type of features it gets. But I would like to see them make it completely water resistant so people could swim in it. I'm sure there's some people that do swim with their Series 3s, but I'd like to see it completely water resistant, and I'd like to see them improve the durability of the display. Just make it tougher so it doesn't crack, so it doesn't web. People are paying arms and legs for these things. It's like several hundreds of dollars, so it should be very durable. Mark says, I find it funny that Chinese phone makers consider the notch a feature. Man, the notch is a horrible, horrible accommodation that we actually kind of sort of have to use when you're trying to include more display. I say just minimize the top bezel, minimize the bottom bezel, and just get your speakers in there, front-facing dual speakers, and get your front-facing cameras and sensors. Like, just make the bezels smaller. I think the notches are ugly. I don't know. There's just no good way to do it. It's just unfortunate. Yeah, it's definitely not a feature. It's an obstacle, if you ask me. Soul J says, bought an Xbox, sold my PS4, like Xbox better, then went back to PS4 and sold it again in 2 months. If you are used to Xbox, you'll always be with Xbox. If you're used to PS4, you'll always be with PS4 or PlayStation. It's just kind of like how Android and Apple is. Whatever you've tried and whatever you got used to, that's it. You're kind of committed to the ecosystem, as they say, and it's what you know. You know what, Mo? Lenovo actually makes some good devices. Their laptop game is strong. Their computer game is strong. But they haven't been doing so great when it comes to Motorola. Their sales are bad. I think their marketing is bad. I don't know. It just hasn't worked out for them. They've wasted a lot of money in terms of, not being profitable with Motorola. It sucks to admit it. I love the Motorola company, but since Lenovo has taken over, they have failed miserably from the business side. They're just not profitable with it. But I do like the phones. Arcelia says, it would be nice if they made a new console that could support old games for the same console. Or you could just get your hands on the old console in good condition, buy it used, find it at a garage sale, or get emulators onto your computer, or get emulators to a modded Xbox or something like that. That's an option if you're tech savvy or you know somebody. Uh, Mark says, I was surprised that Google did not make Motorola, didn't make them work, which is a shame. I agree. You know what? I'll tell you what Google did though. Google bought Motorola for the patents. Google bought Motorola for, technology. They didn't really want the phone company per se, so they gave up the phone side and kept all of the patent and technology side, which is actually brilliant. So all these special features that that Motorola had patented and kept in under works and kept locked down. Now they're taking advantage of that technology. So it was pretty smart by them actually. But it's not like they made money directly on the purchase. Obviously, it was a huge investment, and they're just hoping that in the long run it pays off for them. And I think that was like 2011 or 12 when they bought Motorola, Google, and then they sold it in like 2013 or 14. Jamal Matthews, hello, my friend. Glad you can make it. Thank you for stopping by. All right, so we are 1 hour, 13 minutes into the live stream. It's been good so far. We've got lots of visitors, mostly the same usual suspects, so it's good to see you guys come back. There's also some new faces that I haven't seen before, so welcome to you all. If you have any comments, if you have any questions, any type of rumors or renders that you've been seeing lately, anything as it pertains to carriers, networks, devices, go ahead, drop me a line. We're busy here in the live chat. It's good to have you all here. Arcelia says Google Fiber died. Actually, so it was a huge, expensive investment for Google Fiber, and kind of did die. It kind of did die. So Google had big ambitions. They wanted to get the United States covered in Google Fiber. That's like impossible to do. The U.S. is a huge area. You know how much fiber you got to run? Like it's crazy intimidating to think how a company is going to employ so many people to install all that fiber. That was very ambitious by Google, and of course, time, resources, available, employees. It's just hard to do. It was kind of doomed. They were never going to get the country covered in Google Fiber, but I wish they would have. We would have had probably some really dependable and very, very fast service. There are some markets though that do have it installed, and it's just not being utilized. Man, all that digging and all that for nothing. All those resources. Tectwan says, have you got the Alcatel 7 phone yet? No, actually. I stopped with Alcatel. I think I had the Alcatel 4S. I think that was the last Alcatel that I had. It was a great phone, actually. Great design. I remember it had dual-facing speakers. It had a glass design. It was very premium. But it was a great priced phone. Very good budget brand. You don't have to spend a lot of money to get a good Android, and I would definitely recommend Alcatel if you're looking for an affordable phone that performs well. The only problem is sometimes they're GSM only. Actually, I think most of them are GSM only, so you're using it on AT&T, T-Mobile, or one of their MVNOs. But yeah, I'm sure that Alcatel 7 is going to be a really, really good phone. I'll look into it, actually. Those are pretty nice. So Google Fiber started in a couple of big cities, and the plan was to branch out and move out and away from those cities. Man, I know they got it in Atlanta. I think there's a couple of cities in Tennessee. So, I mean, they're in places that matter, I mean, where people are. But the development stopped like in 2015, 16. Like, I stopped hearing about the expansion. I stopped hearing about what cities were getting it. And once you stop hearing about expansion, it could be the end is near. So it's been at least 2 years since I saw a legitimate update on Google Fiber. So it may be kaput. All of that investment for nothing. And actually, recently, I've just been kind of following mergers, like AT&T, Time Warner. That's been occupying my time more. I haven't really been paying attention to anything like Google Fiber or anything like that. I have been paying attention to cable cord cutting. So like the different services like TV services like Sling, YouTube TV, DirecTV Now. That's had a lot of my attention recently. Dank Hank, welcome back, buddy. Good to see you made it. Glad to have you as teacher again. Hey, man, glad to have you. Uh, so for those of you that don't know, I am a school teacher. I'm a science teacher. This is my 8th year teaching. My 5th year at the school I'm currently at. I'm very comfortable. I love it there. I'm teaching environmental science and biology this year. Those are my specialties, so I'm excited for that. Actually went back to work this week, which is, for those of you that just tuned in recently, that's why the live stream is at the time it is right now. So I've been doing my live streams between 2 and 4 o'clock on Fridays, and until further notice, it's going to be Friday evenings. By the time I get out of school and get home from work, it's way past that 2 to 4 window. So we're gonna have to do it at this time until further notice. So I guess until next summer we'll be doing it now. So we'll try to get the live stream in every Friday between like 8 and 10 o'clock in the PM Eastern Standard Time. Maybe a little bit later start, maybe like 8:30 to 10:30. But we'll try to be consistent with that. It's definitely doable, and I hope you guys can make it. Hopefully it doesn't cause you to miss it with the time change. So Arcelia says Tesla's in debt. Investors don't care. Why? Well, because eventually, and probably in the pretty near future, Tesla is going to be very, very profitable. Nobody's really got the battery technology that Tesla does. Nobody has the electric car game sewed up like Tesla does. So as soon as electric cars become the norm, as soon as they become standardized, and the battery technology continues to improve and become more affordable, Tesla is going to become more profitable. So they don't feel pressure to have to perform necessarily. They're going to get their numbers eventually, and they're going to be finishing first. That's why they don't care. Dankeg says, by the way, at the Browns game right now, Verizon is working its magic. So I don't know how many people are there at Dankeg, but I know Browns Stadium, First Energy Stadium, seats like 67 to 70,000 people. Do me a favor. I want you to take a look around the stadium. Just let me know if it's like half capacity or 2/3 capacity. We'll estimate how many people are there, and then I want you to download the Ookla Speed Test app, and I want you to get me the download and upload speed for the Verizon Wireless Network at the Browns game. Do me a favor, buddy. Do that. Got some bonus points for you at school on Monday. And hopefully the Browns are winning too. Who are they playing this week? I should be watching the Browns game. I'm live streaming. I mean, that's important. But I should probably have the Browns game on too. All right, so Mark asks, I know you follow Fierce Wireless. What others do you follow? So Fierce is one that I follow closely when it comes to some of the more technical things. Like say, for example, Sprint. They're going to be utilizing a lot of new LTA technology advances, like they're going through their voice over LTE network upgrade. Like Fierce Wireless is really good for stuff like that. If you're looking more for like promotional information, like consumer information, plans, deals, buy one get ones on phones, new data plans, stuff like that, you can find that pretty much everywhere. You'll find that on The Verge. You'll find that on Pocket Now Daily. You'll find it on Android Authority, Android Central. I mean, there's tons and tons of sites that all report similar information from the consumer side. So, I mean, all you got to do is just Google search, find the websites that you like. Sometimes some interfaces are more organized. Some sites, they're more up to date. They update things like every hour or 2 hours. So I definitely support those channels the most. So those are some of the ones that I've used. Dank Hank, the app is called Ookla Speed Test. And actually, you could download any speed test app. I don't really care what it is. Doesn't matter to me. Tech Twan says he's watching the Carolina Panthers game. Let me know how Cam Newton plays because I'm thinking about drafting Cam in my fantasy leagues. I think Cam's going to have a big year. I think he's going to do a lot of damage in the run game, and I think he's going to have a pretty accurate year. I think he's going to throw some TDs. I think he's going to run in some TDs. I think he's going to be a big-time player this year. Maybe not like MVP level, but like maybe he'll finish top 5 in the MVP. I mean, if the team wins 12 games, he'll definitely be in the MVP candidacy. The problem with Cam has always been his accuracy. He's just, throwing picks or making bad decisions, but he is a phenomenal talent. He's a huge, huge quarterback that's very skilled. I'm targeting him in my fantasy leagues. I'd love to get him on my squad. And actually, Carolina's got talent, man. Defense is good. They've got some offensive weapons. If McCaffrey can hold up, he's a nice little shifty running back. He's not very durable. He's a smaller guy, but if he can make it through a year, he's super productive. I'd like to own him in a PPR fantasy league for sure, catching all his passes. And you know what, man? I want to see Funchess. I want to see Devin Funchess have a big year. I owned him in some fantasy leagues last year. I picked him up in like the middle of the year, and he was a very serviceable wide receiver. The problem is, I don't know if he can follow up on his year because he got really hot and then he kind of disappeared at the end. But yeah, I'm a big fan of the Panthers, big time. Oh, and Greg Olsen, he's awesome, a great tight end, very, very good. Actually, he's probably my second favorite player on the Panthers. First is Cam, and then the second is Greg Olsen. All right, so the Browns are playing the Bills. Man, who's the quarterback for the Bills? They got a rookie. I think they drafted somebody, Josh Allen or something like that, maybe. Is Shady McCoy playing? LaShawn McCoy is like one of my favorite running backs ever. I know he got kind of caught up in some nonsense. I don't know if any of that's going to be true, if he's going to have some court proceedings, but if you own LaShawn McCoy in a fantasy league, put that on hold, man. I don't know. He's got some legal issues. Arcelia says transparent televisions in the near future. The technology is definitely possible. Sure, why not? I don't know about a time frame, but I mean, you could see it in 10 or 20 years, right? For sure. I mean, we have foldable displays which are about to be mass produced in the next couple of years. Carolina versus Miami. Yeah, I don't like Miami. I can't stand Ryan Tannehill. He's like my least favorite quarterback in the league. So I hope the Dolphins stink it up this year. If there's any Dolphin fans out there, sorry, I don't like Ryan Tannehill. He's a D. He sucks. I hate his guts. I do like the running back though, Kenyon Drake. He's a nice little player. All right, Dan Kank. So the stadium's about a third full. So we're probably 25,000 maybe. Go ahead and run me a speed test. Let me know your downloads or your upload speed. So we're talking about 20,000 people maybe. What's the score on that? What's the score of the Browns game, Hank? I know it's the live stream, but hey, man, sports matters. Browns are my team, man. What quarter is it too? And since we're talking about sports and the NFL, let me know what your favorite team is, who you're rooting for this year, and if you like their chances getting to the Super Bowl. And if you're a Dallas Cowboys fan, man, they ain't going anywhere this year. They don't have any wide receivers. If they're getting to the Super Bowl, Ezekiel Elliott's going to have to carry them all the way. Nice. Verizon speeds at the stadium right now. Cleveland Browns Stadium, 45 megabits per second on the download. Pretty good. Now with 45 megabits per second, you're not getting any type of slowdown. That's plenty fast. (13-10) Buffalo. Browns got this, man. They're about to throw a touchdown. No, Cowboys fans, no. It's gonna be a down year for the Cowboys fans. It's gonna be a down year. Got no receivers. They really wanted Dez out so bad that now they have like no help at the position. Wow. Dank Hank, upload at 63.5. That's crazy fast for upload speed. I've actually never seen Verizon upload speeds that high. I've seen it around 40, 50. Man, that's pretty fast. All right, so what's your team if you're out there? What's your NFL squad? So what is this, preseason week number 2, right? Mark says, please no Cowboy fans. I actually like the Philadelphia Eagles, so yeah, Cowboy fans are going to hate me. Nothing against the Cowboys, just I like the Eagles. I've always liked the Eagles. Landon, good to see you, my friend. Glad you can make it. Ron just scored. Who got the TD? Was it a rushing or was it a receiving TD? Or maybe it was like a pick six, a big defensive touchdown. I'm looking at the live chat like, what's going on with the Browns games? All right, Jamal's squad is the Miami Dolphins. Yeah, I like Kenyon Drake. I don't like Ryan Tannehill. Sorry, I don't believe in that dude. I don't think he's the truth. The defense, I always like the Dolphins. They always seem to have a decent defense. They play hard. They're usually not bottom feeders when it comes to defense. Dank Hank is making a prediction. Baker Mayfield is going to be the starting quarterback soon. Man, they're talking about demoting him to third string. So it's going to be Tyrod Taylor and then Stanton and then Baker. So I don't know about all that, Dank Hank. I think you're tripping, man. Mark says the Eagles got kicked around last night by the Pats. That don't mean nothing, man. They, the Eagles smacked around the Patriots in the Super Bowl when it mattered. So, yeah. The one that actually truly matters, they got the best of them. And the Patriots kill me, man. They're just so good every year. It's so frustrating. Anybody got anything tech related? We're going hard with the NFL right now. Try to get back on track here. All right, so this week on the channel, we have probably the next couple days, there's going to be a T-Mobile video that's probably coming out tomorrow in the evening. We'll have a Verizon video, which will come out right after that. I'll probably do a Sprint update at some point in the next few days, so maybe Monday or Tuesday, unless something big happens, any types of announcements or big news. So that's definitely up and coming. And I'm also going to do a video on deprioritization. I'll probably do that some point next week. I got to work on it a little bit. I've got the script kind of in my mind. Like, I know what I want to cover. I know how I want to do it. It's going to be really similar to like the data throttling video, but it's going to focus on deprioritization. So I'll be kind of like showing how it works and how it manifests itself with the network, so you guys can take a look at that. So that's up and coming in the pipeline. Any other similar videos that you guys want to see, just let me know. Throw some ideas my way. You guys can send me emails. The YouTube channel's email is sneedmobiletech@gmail.com. So you can email me that, any speed tests or anything you want to show me or share, any type of network coverage, performance app, screenshots, stuff like that, that's fine. You can make some requests if you want something in particular. Somebody earlier requested a T-Mobile prepaid video, so I'll be doing that. Also, if you guys haven't done so already, check me out on Patreon. So the Sneed Mobile Tech Patreon page is up and running. I've got some patrons on there, some great patrons supporting me there, making great content. There's a bunch of exclusive stuff on there that you can't get access to anywhere else except Patreon. So if you're interested in that, check it out. It's really nice, and I enjoy making those videos as much as I do my YouTube videos. So subscriber count's growing, the channel's growing, the community is strong. Love the presence in the comment section. Everybody's been participating. You guys do realize that the best part of the channel is you. So when I get your comments and when we get the interactions and when I get your opinions, That's the best part of the channel, and I read all the comments, even if I don't respond or reply. I still read pretty much everything. So your participation in the channel is greatly appreciated. Thank you all so much for those of you that are active in there. Maybe you're not a participator. Maybe you're kind of like a bystander. You kind of like sit back and more of a reader. That's fine. That's okay. But I definitely encourage you all, to have a voice and opinion here on the channel. It's what we do here. Yeah, Dank Hank says, never knew that Cleveland Browns Stadium had cell towers. If they didn't have cell towers there wouldn't be enough capacity. So what they've done is, I think they've retrofitted the stadium with some antennas around the stadium. So certain carriers actually have towers that are close. And then they've got the micro cells, the small cells to support as well. The problem with the small cells is most of the time they don't work very far distances. So they have their limitations. But yeah, it's good to see that they've added those. Back in the day when people used to go to Browns games, like, it was a complete dead spot. Nobody could get a network, and the Wi-Fi would always drop and fail. It was horrible. Mark asks, is all that info going on to Patreon? Some of it. So like what I do with Patreon versus YouTube, the YouTube I try to do, I try to keep the videos kind of like under like 7-8 minutes on YouTube, only because the more technical information and the more technical 5G stuff, I try to reserve that for Patreon, because I feel like Patreon's a much more committed group. Maybe I don't know how to explain it, but like, I know for a fact that those that have joined me in Patreon, they're looking for the more technical side, which more technical usually means it needs more time to explain and cover. So the longer videos, the more technical videos, they usually find their way onto Patreon, and sometimes they're more specialized too. The YouTube I try to keep short and sweet. I try to get as much as I can, to fit in 4 or 5 minutes, stuff like that. So anything very technical usually makes its way to Patreon. Anything more mainstream, I try to push to YouTube. So that's kind of how I do it. Now, the T-Mobile update is going to be YouTube. The Verizon update is going to be YouTube as well. But anything 5G related that's more than just kind of like a blurb, those will be designated for the Patreon channel. So that's kind of how I'll be doing that. Tech says, can you make a video on the Alcatel 7? Yeah, I mean, if I could find the correlation to the channel. So, this channel is about network technology mostly and how it pertains to smartphones. So, I could look into it. If I see that it fits kind of the mission of the channel, then sure, I'll gladly do it. If, it doesn't really fit the niche of the channel, then maybe it doesn't have its place. I might have to skip it, but I'll look into it for you, definitely. Jamal says, OnePlus 6 is coming to T-Mobile in October. Jamal, that is actually true. I'm hearing a lot of credible sources reporting that the OnePlus 6T, which is going to be like the middle of the year upgrade to the OnePlus 6. Now, the T versions are always better than the regular versions, so the 6T will be better than the 6. So it's going to be a powerhouse of a phone, I'm sure. The nice thing about those phones is they've got awesome hardware and they're super affordable. So it'll be, somewhere in the neighborhood of like $500 to $600. I'm gonna guess it's gonna be a little bit closer to 600 if it's gonna be an upgraded OnePlus 6. But the big thing is that T-Mobile's gonna sell it. This is gonna be the first U.S. carrier that's gonna sell a OnePlus device. That's been OnePlus's only problem, is they have no presence in the U.S. other than people buying it through eBay and people buying it through online retailers. So if you're a phone company and you want to sell smartphones, you have to get in carrier stores in the US. That's the only way to do it. So that's the only thing missing from OnePlus, is they have no presence in carrier stores. If they get in T-Mobile, they're going to sell a lot of phones. So what's going to happen is all the Samsungs, all the iPhones that sell at T-Mobile's, they're going to continue to sell, but OnePlus is going to take a piece, especially from the S9 owners. the Note 9 owners. They're going to be looking at the OnePlus 6T like, wow, this is a great device, super capable, and it's half the price of a Note, and it's half the price of an iPhone. The OnePlus company is legit. They make great hardware at a great price. Imagine owning a a Samsung type device. That's really what a OnePlus 6 is. OnePlus 6T. Comparable Samsung device, like comparable to its performance, comparable to the hardware and the design and the ability. Fit that into a $550 phone. It's a no-brainer. If you want a great Android for an affordable price, but you don't want to lose features, it's the OnePlus 6. It's a great way to go if you don't want to spend $900 to $1,000. I actually think it's an underrated news blurb. I think it's huge. Tech I do not have a Facebook. The only thing I have in terms of, I guess, social media is the YouTube channel and then the Patreon. That's all I got. I'm not, big on Snapchat. I'm not big on Twitter. Don't have a Facebook. Don't have IG. This is kind of what I'm doing. Steve Sanchez chimes in. All the carriers are installing DAS in stadiums to add capacity to the networks. Yeah, when you get 70,000 people in a stadium, you need support because, you're talking Snapchat, you're talking Instagram, people are updating their Twitter timelines. You're going to get total crashes of networks anytime you got all those people in one place. So if there's 70,000 people in one place at one time, concert, football game, basketball game, whatever, they're all on the same tower. So it's not like some are on this tower, some are on that tower. They're all trying to connect to the closest tower. So unless there's another one neighboring where it could potentially pick up to that tower, it's really, really tough on capacity. 4th of July, Verizon's network was completely crashed. I couldn't even, upload a simple web page. Connectivity was like nothing. So yeah, I know exactly what you mean. All right, so Landon's in the house, and he says T-Mobile's getting worse and worse in my area. The last I checked, Landon, your connectivity at certain times of the day was crawling. Your internet speed was under like a megabit per second. It's horrible. Dropped calls, dropped outages. And for those of you that don't know, Landon's kind of international. He's in Puerto Rico. I'm not really sure of the city, but yeah, coverage has been sketchy there. You know what, Mark? I never had a Facebook account. I never got into Facebook. I know a lot of people have Facebook accounts. Then there was that huge security issue with Facebook recently. I've always stayed away from Facebook and other social media platforms. I just never got into them. I just never did. And the worst thing actually about Facebook is when it's pre-installed in your phone and you don't want it. So you buy a phone from a carrier, you've got all this bloatware, all this pre-installed apps, and Facebook is one of them, and it has privileges in controlling the tracking of your device and all that. It's frustrating. And I'm not sure if any other social media apps are like that. I know for a fact that Facebook is like that. I know Uber was in a lot of trouble with tracking their customers. After they were ending rides and stuff like that, they were tracking them, seeing where they were going, seeing where they were stopping, where they were spending most times, how they're probably selling that data to advertisers and stuff like that. That was a big time thing. That's a huge breach of security. So, yeah, Landon, I was speaking about the privacy in the past. Yeah, it's not outrageous. Your statement is not crazy. Yeah, privacy on the internet is not happening. Your only hope to remain private on the internet is through a VPN service, a virtual private network. That's the only way to go. And using a free one, you are not private. Your only hope is to find a good, credible, paid VPN. And keeping that thing on and running so that, people aren't phishing your data, not trying to hack your device, encrypting your phone, encrypting your connection, especially if you do online banking. I tell people all the time, Like VPNs are awesome when it comes to stuff like that. So Mark Garcia is testing out T-Mobile now. Uh, it's got 6 to 9 on the, on I'm guessing 6 to 9 megabits per second. Like, so I guess we're just kind of spoiled. So like 6 to 9 megabits per second may not seem like a lot, but to be honest with you, Mark, other than maybe streaming 4K video, what can you not do with 6 to 9 megabits per second? I mean, we're spoiled with 20, 30, 40, 50 megs. There are times where I see my network's getting 100, 150 megs per second. But like 6 to 9 is, it's serviceable. You're doing whatever you got to do. You can use your social media apps. You can, watch YouTube videos at full HD with 6 to 9 megs. I mean, you could do pretty much anything. Just not high resolution video. Probably not quad HD. Probably not 4K. But other than that, it's still serviceable. So it's not the end of the world to get 6 to 9 megs. Oh, 6 to 9 p.m. Yeah. This is considered prime time. This is when people are using their devices most. So, yeah, it's considered a peak time. You know what? I think I recently did a speed test during the same time frame, and on Verizon in my area, I'm getting like 30 to 40 megs per second during that time. So my network's pretty strong. Yeah, Landon, that's true. What they want to see and what they want to know, they can. That's very true. Oh, Mark, you're under a meg? Ugh. Under a meg? Not doing much with that. If I could recommend any type of internet activity right now with under a meg speed, Mark, I would say maybe email. Maybe reply to the emails that you've been trying to get out. Landon saying that's not bad. I think Landon's standards are a little bit lower given his circumstances. So, all right. So the time is 10:14 Eastern Standard Time. We're about 1 hour 44 minutes into the live stream. I can give you guys another 10 to 15 minutes, but we'll be wrapping up here shortly. If you have anything you want to ask, if you have anything you want to mention or talk about, go ahead and get it in within the next 10 to 15 minutes. Kind of open forum. That's the way I do with the live streams, so it could be anything. It doesn't matter. Whatever is going on in the tech world, whatever is going on with networks. Maybe you're kind of seeing something, or maybe there's been some tower activity in your area. Let me know of where you are, what city, what area. I'd like to know. So tune me in. Let's see here. Landon says my speeds are at 1 or 2 megs best. Man. So like getting 10, 15, 20 megs is like a blessing. And I complain sometimes when I see my speeds are under 10 megs. 1 and 2 megs is tough. Mark says Big Brother's always watching. Absolutely. Landon says at 7 p.m. I get 0.3 or less. Man, that is slow. 0.3 or less, we're talking really, really slow 3G maybe, at best, if you even want to consider it that. So what's the deal, Landon? Is it just too many people on the network at once? Or is it, slow to start? I'd like to know, what's the best that you see in your area? Are there times where you can get 20 megs per second and there's just too many people bogging down the network? I'd say the worst I see in my home area for Verizon, when it's really, really congested, it'll drop down into 6 to 10 megs. That's the slowest I've seen it. And we're talking deprioritization level. Other than that, even during peak times, I'm around 30. When the network is, completely, freed, I'll get 50, 60 megs on the download. So yeah, it's really fast where I am. It's part of the reason why I picked the carrier I have is the coverage is great where I am and the speeds are great where I am. So. Yeah, sometimes, Landon, you got to find those sweet spots, man. Especially if you're going to be like uploading videos, downloading videos, sending, receiving files. Find where the connectivity is best. Find where the connectivity is fastest, and try to get it done during that time. Wow. Okay. Now, what I did notice is that initially, when Verizon first went back to the unlimited plans, I saw that it really affected the network. Like, as soon as people started transitioning from, buckets of data and family plans over to like all unlimited, I did see the network slow down. So, like, I'd say it slowed down by about 10 to 15%. And then it kind of bounced back. I don't know if it was the data throttling with the video. I don't know if it was the deprioritizing methods, but the network has since recovered, and I don't really see as much of an issue anymore. But it definitely did for a couple of months. All right, Mark's rolling with Boost. Um, 0.39, huh, Mark? Yeah. Yeah, you're limping along. So actually, when I was doing my research on the T-Mobile trials, for those of you that are thinking about maybe giving T-Mobile a try, what they're doing is they're allowing people a 30-day trial period to try T-Mobile to see if they like it. And I actually got the names of the cities. It's going to be Boston, Massachusetts, Austin, Texas, and Atlanta, Georgia. So if you have maybe Sprint, maybe Verizon, maybe AT&T, and you're thinking about switching to T-Mobile, those three cities, you can get a 30-day trial of the T-Mobile network. They're going to send you a hotspot with a SIM card in it, and you could see if you like the service. It's 30 days or 30 gigs of data, whichever comes first. So that might be something to consider if you're in those areas. I'm not sure. And of course, you can roam with it. You go anywhere nationwide. It doesn't matter. All right, y'all, the time I got, we are 1 hour, 49 minutes in. Anything else you guys want to get in and talk about? Let's wrap it up. Don't have much time left. The plan was to go for 2 hours. We're pushing it. We're at about 1 hour and 49 minutes. So anything else you guys want to get to, ask, comment on, now's the time. Kind of get it in rapid fire. And of course, the water's down, so I mean, there's just a little bit left. Once this is done, I'm done. Let's see what's happening in the live chat here. Oh, before I forget, there's probably going to be some merger news up and coming in the next couple weeks. More of the regulatory things are going on. I may do a dedicated video for progress on the merger between Sprint and T-Mobile, so look forward to that. Hopefully something in the next couple weeks. Not too much going on with the AT&T side, other than the first responders network is continuing to be developed, so that's going on. Yeah, so that's pretty much it from the big four. Hopefully I can do something with the prepaid side and how that's going to affect the T-Mobile and Sprint merger. I think we'll have some information there. I might tie that into the general merger news video that I'll be doing. So that's up and coming. All right, so I guess the last thing I'll end with that I wanted to ask for whoever's here in the live stream, whoever's in the chat, which phone are you currently using, and are you going to be upgrading soon? So if you want to chime in, just give me your response to that. Which phone do you have? Which smartphone? And are you going to be upgrading soon? And if you are going to be upgrading soon, what are you going to upgrade to? I was speaking earlier about the Google Pixel, new generation 3. So I love the Google phones. They're my favorite. I love stock Android. The cameras are awesome. The phones are powerful. I wish they had more RAM, but anyways, I think I'm going to pass on the Google Pixel 3 XL this year. I don't think it's good enough for me to upgrade. I think I'm going to roll with the Google Pixel 2 XL for a while, or I might take a look at the Google Pixel 3. The only issue is I got used to larger phones, larger battery with the Google Pixel 2 XL. So I may just pass on the Google phones this year. Maybe if I get a good deal on like a Note 9, or maybe I'll wait for the S10 or S10 Plus or something. But I'm probably not going to be doing anything with the Google phones this year. I don't think I'm going to do it. That's that ugly notch on that Google Pixel 3 XL. It's just too deep. It's too noticeable. It's too intrusive. Just not into it. All right, Landon's got the LG Stylo 3 Plus. Would upgrade if I could, but I have to save money for college. Yeah, yeah. I mean, I'd say college is a little more important than a cell phone upgrade. Actually, I kind of like the LG Stylo phones. Those are the ones that have the pen, right? The stylus. They're pretty nice. They got those big screens, those big displays. Got a lot of real estate there. They're powerful enough. They get the job done. I like those phones. And LG makes a good phone, good hardware. And I think those are pretty affordable. You don't have to spend an arm and a leg to get those devices. Mark's got an HTC One A9. Mark, that is a great phone. All right, first of all, let me say this. HTC makes an awesome phone. I had the HTC One M7, and that is by far, yeah, that is my favorite phone ever. That was my favorite Android. So, like, I've had all types of Motorola's. I've had all types of Google phones. I've had a ton of different Androids. I've had Blackberries. I had, like, Palm Trios and, like, those PDAs. The HTC One M7 is probably the best smartphone ever. The iPhone 6 copied it. It was a legendary phone. Design. Now, the A9 is not an HTC One M7, but it is kind of made in its resemblance and in its light. So I really like the HTC One A9. Is yours carrier branded or is it the unlocked version? And Mark, which Motorola are you gonna get? Yeah, Landon, I heard that about the Stylo phones. They have good battery life. Uh, the last I checked, did they have a removable battery? So if they do have a removable battery, you just keep one charged and handy. As soon as the other one dies or gets low, you swap it out. That was the nice thing about removable batteries back in the day. Jamal's got the Note 8 and he's getting the Note 9. All right, baller, you got those Note 8s and Note 9s. Spending them big bucks, buddy. Jamal, I'm wondering if you're on T-Mobile, if you're taking advantage of the jump device plan that they have. Be interested to see that. Tech Twan's got the LG V30 and the Stylo 4. The V30 is a good phone, man. I really like the V30. It's a powerhouse of a phone. It's got the awesome audio, the video recording. It's just top-notch camera performance. It's a great phone. Mark Garcia, people bag on the HTC One A9? Man, I like that phone. I mean, it doesn't have great battery life. It's not like a powerhouse, but it's got a good design. You know what I mean? It's a nice phone. Ronald just popped in. Welcome, buddy. Ronald says, do you think the Sprint T-Mobile merger is going to happen? Yes, I do. And I think it's going to happen pretty seamlessly. I don't think there's going to be much to it. I think it's going to progress nicely. I think April of 2019 is a realistic time frame for the merger to be official. I think, within a year or 2 years, so maybe we'll say like summer 2021, I think the networks will be pretty much integrated, at least to some extent. Maybe 2022, 2023. You'll see spectrum allocations will be being used. The 2.5 gigahertz will be completely utilized by T-Mobile. I think it's going to be great. I think when it comes to T-Mobile's side, I think they're going to be very happy with their investment. They're going to have some excellent 5G. Their coverage is going to improve. They're going to be a real player. T-Mobile will be competing with AT&T and Verizon once this thing goes through. Yeah, I figured, Tech1. I figured you were on that jump program with T-Mobile. You could just kind of go from phone to phone scot-free, not worried about anything. You know what, Mark? If you're thinking about a Motorola, I don't know what type of price point you're looking at. Maybe you're looking, budget. Maybe you're looking at mid-range. Maybe you're looking at flagship. I would say if you're looking for something mid-range, the G series is fantastic. That Moto X4 is really nice. If you want something with like a nice design and very capable, those are cool. Maybe you want to look for a flagship. I would say maybe the Moto Z2 Force. Now it's like a year old, but it's still a really, really good, powerful phone. You get the Moto mods. You can add battery life, JBL speakers. I mean, there's a lot you could do with those. So yeah, I mean, or you could go completely budget, get like a Moto E5 Plus or something like that. That would be great. Fingerprint scanner, 720p screen. So you have a lot of options. Motorola makes great phones. All right, guys, we are at 1 hour, 57 minutes. We've got a couple minutes. We're going to wrap things up here. So if you have any comments or questions before we get going here, let's get this thing wrapped up. Kind of put the bow on it. All right, so videos up and coming. We've got one from Verizon. We've got one from T-Mobile. We've got an update from Sprint. That's in the pipeline. So definitely stay tuned to the channel. If you're visiting, it's your first time, subscribe. Ding the bell to be notified whenever I upload new content. So definitely consider returning. If you want to kind of look at something a little bit more technical, something more extensive and in-depth, check out Sneed Mobile Tech on Patreon. Got a great channel there. Post excellent content, very exclusive content. You won't find it here necessarily on the YouTube channel. So if you like what I'm doing on YouTube, you'll love what I'm doing on Patreon. So consider supporting there. Greatly appreciate that. Let's wrap things up here. We got about a minute left. So Mark says, might be going X4 or G6. Can't go wrong with either one. I think the G6 offers better battery life, though. The processors are probably pretty similar. I think the G6 might have a 4 series processor, and the X4 has a 6 series. Don't quote me on it, but might be the case. Yeah, Mark, thanks for tuning in, man. Have a great weekend. Thank you. Appreciate all your contributions to the channel. Thank you again. For the rest of you guys, thank you all for watching. I think I'll end it on that note. It's been a great live stream. We're going to be doing it now on Fridays in the evening, probably between 8 and 10 Eastern Standard Time, until further notice. So now that the school year has started, that'll be the time. Hopefully you guys can come back and you can check things out on a consistent basis Friday nights. Make sure you subscribe. Make sure you ding the bell to be notified whenever I upload or have the live stream coming so you can be notified. Thank you all for watching. Have an excellent rest of the day. I'll see you guys in the next video. Probably have something for you tomorrow, so stay tuned. Peace.